Accused Gilgo serial killer Rex Heurermann appeared briefly in court yesterday for a discovery hearing.
He's accused of killing at least 3 women and suspected in a 4th. All their bodies found along Gilgo Beach.
There's also a word. His wife has had telephone contact with Heurermann, even as she proceeds with a divorce. And now his daughter and stepson have hired their own lawyer to represent them.
That's right, and joining us now is Long Island attorney Vess Mitev. He is now representing Rex Heurermann's 26-year-old daughter, Victoria, and 33-year-old stepson, Christopher. Vess, first, welcome. We're hearing that Victoria and Christopher, well, tell us how they're holding up since their father was arrested. Of course, their mother has been quoted that they cry themselves to sleep at night.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me on this morning. Obviously, our clients at this point are living a waking nightmare. They're recalibrating every moment. It's something that no one could think of is happening, and yet it's happening to them. So they're doing the best that they can, but obviously, emotionally, mentally, and physically, they're reeling, and that's the point. The investigation has now commenced. With discovery, the DA handed over troves of data yesterday, as was reported. So with that in mind, they're taking it minute by minute in what can only be described as a tempest that's not of their own making, but they're doing the best that they can.
I think everyone's wondering why these 2 children need an attorney. Why do they have representation?
It's a great question, and we appreciate that for many reasons. Even though they're adults in the eyes of the law, they have certain rights and remedies. The investigation is just commenced. The discovery process in their father's arrest has just commenced. So they don't know what they don't know. In fact, none of us do. So as the legal process unfolds, they have certain rights and remedies that they want protected. One of those being in the state of New York, even though they may be divorce proceedings, and even though they're of a certain age, the person that ends up with custody of the children, especially the developmentally someone with developmental needs, that could be a factor in how the divorce unfolds. Another example, perfect example of why you'd want representation is if you take a look at what happened to their house, their belongings, the ransacking, the roughshod trampling of their home. Those are certain, there's search and seizure, and then there's whatever happened at their house. And again, they have a right to be protected and to have their rights and liberties, reserved and not trampled upon. And that's why people hire lawyers.
Mr. Mitev, we know that Heurermann's wife has spoken to him at least once. Have Victoria and Christopher talked to their father? Are there plans for them to talk to him, or is that even advisable at this point?
Certainly, as I said before, at this point, they're recalibrating basically on a minute-by-minute basis. They're not foreclosing anything. I think everyone can appreciate they're in a very difficult situation, something that you wouldn't wish upon anyone. So the mere fact that they're constantly having to realign with the terms of their reality is something that we've had to deal with right from the start. So they're not foreclosing anything, but at this point, all we could say is that they're keeping every option open.
When you say their world has been flipped upside down, we know that the house, their properties have been basically ripped apart by investigators to find any kind of evidence. What rights do the kids have when it comes back to going back home and seeing their house basically flipped upside down? What can you do about that?
And by the way, we have some photos obtained by the New York Post that show, how the house has just been turned upside down.
Well, I think we can all imagine, even in low-level criminal prosecutions, such as, someone steals a handbag or a cell phone, that evidence is impounded and it's very hard to get it back. It takes years, even in a very low-level case. So, here at the house, it's your sacred castle. It's right up there in the hierarchy of needs, right? So it's their only home. So they have no choice but to try and restart and rebuild. And again, minute by minute, second by second, China piece by China piece. And they're trying to do that. And that's, again, part and parcel of why it's necessary that their interests are represented, because things that you don't imagine are evidence now become evidence later, possibly, or things that have no business being evidence are improperly seized. Again, there's search and seizure, and then there's whatever happened here.
All right. Is the home habitable right now, and what are the family's immediate needs?
Well, habitable is a loose term, and yes, there is a home, and that is their home, and they're doing the best that they can. But their needs are, I think it's best said as this, they really do wish that their privacy to the best extent that it can be is respected. They thank the outpouring of support around the globe. Truly people have extended thoughts, well wishes, expressions of solidarity and remorse, and they need more of that. And obviously there's been a GoFundMe established. If people want to donate to that, obviously that would be appreciated. But mostly it's to realize that they're going through an extraordinarily difficult time, something that happens once in a million years, and that's what they're dealing with on a daily basis. So it's to understand that and to give them the privacy and the space that they need in order to try to piece back their lives.
Can you elaborate on the communication they've had with Melissa Moore, who's the daughter of another serial killer, the Happy Face killer? She, as to what I understand, set up that GoFundMe. Can you tell us if she's been giving them any advice or helping them get through this tough time?
All we can say is we appreciate Ms. Moore's efforts. I think it's, again, a story that you couldn't write the script for, given the similarity in their circumstances, and they do appreciate her efforts. But at this point, that's really all we can say about it, because again, everything is so new and it's happening in real time.
All right, Vess Mitev, attorney for the Heurermann children, thank you so much for being with us this morning, sir. We appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Thank you.